There's a new iPhone available, and despite its cheap price tag, it's very compelling. Here's what's new on the 2025 iPhone 16e. Before we get too deep into why this phone will be so popular, if you want to keep up to date with the latest Apple news, please hit that subscribe button. Well, it's official. The iPhone 16e, as it's being called, has been rumored for a while, and much of what I covered ahead of time came true. Honestly, if you want a new phone on a budget, this may be the phone that you're looking for. I'll talk about your alternative options at the end though. Starting out, the design has in fact been upgraded from the outdated iPhone 8 to a more recent iPhone 16/iPhone 14. Even though it's technically based on the iPhone 14, the flat sides, glass back look very familiar to any of the modern phones, including the iPhone 16. The volume rocker has a new action button above them that can be programmed to any number of tasks, though the camera control will remain exclusive to the iPhone 16 line. The display has increased from this paltry 4.7 inch to 6.1, and it's now OLED, though no always-on display. You also notice the home button and Touch ID have been banished, being replaced instead by Face ID and a notch. The charging port was upgraded to USB-C, finally able to be sold in the EU again, and the Lightning port is gone. For longtime viewers of the channel, you remember me talking about my sponsor ESR and their latest iPhone 16 cases. Starting just with the classic, this is your traditional clear case. Well, now they've updated those cases with a pretty important new feature. Now they have full coverage of the camera control. It's made of 9H hardened glass, which makes it super smooth and retains all the functionality, such as light presses and swipes. Compared to others, they've also managed to make it basically seamless, meaning no dust can get in around the edges to hamper the case or damage the button below. There are only a few cases out there that offer protection for the camera control on the iPhone 16 line. With Apple charging literally up to $749, it's probably a good idea to protect it. And of course, they have the same protection as before and the same adjustable metal stash stand built into the camera guard that even works with MagSafe accessories at the same time. If you want to try the ESR Halo Lock Classic Hybrid case with cover for the camera control, I put a link in the description. Internally on this phone, Apple moved to the A18 chip. That's the same found in the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus, released only a few months ago. That is Apple's trend here on the budget phones, reusing the housing and design from a few generations back, but putting in more modern silicon to keep it powerful. It also has more RAM this year because it needs Apple Intelligence. I know the state of Apple Intelligence right now, and I do think that it is improving. Right now we have AI summaries, Genmoji, ChatGPT integration. It's all nice, but not worth upgrading for on its own. With the upcoming iOS 18.4 update, where we'll get hopefully an even more powerful Siri, it's starting to turn a corner. More features will be coming too with iOS 19. We just don't know what they are yet. To keep up to date with all that, make sure you're subscribed because of course you know I'm going to be covering it here on the channel. Lastly here, Apple has a new 48 megapixel rear facing camera. This is one of the ways Apple limits this phone compared to the others. You lose out on the ultra-wide lens found on the 16 and the telephoto lens found on the Pros. I'll tell you though, most people use just that standard wide lens. The ultra-wide and tele lenses aren't used nearly as much. For most photos, this one camera is the important one. Don't fret too much about that. Apple also says you get things like 2x optical quality zoom from that sensor, which while not as good as a real telephoto lens, is at least something. So, should you buy the new iPhone 16e? Realistically, you have three options here that I'd recommend, but carrier deals also make it complicated. I can't say get this phone if your carrier is offering an iPhone 16 or 16 Pro for free, and it's something that you're willing to do. Assuming you don't have those deals and looking at the real price, I think the iPhone 16e is a fantastic choice. It's the power of the iPhone 16 at a much lower price tag. Apple has distilled this down into what's most important with a new, larger OLED display, Face ID, MagSafe, USB-C, Apple Intelligence, which will hopefully one day be more valuable to users than it is now. If you want to spend a little more, you could go with a great condition iPhone 15. I have seen them for around not much more than this iPhone 16e. Technically, the iPhone 16e is more powerful though, and has Apple Intelligence for less. The biggest trade-off is that single camera. Your third option would be jumping all the way to that iPhone 16, but it's going to be notably more expensive. And you could have just done that already. You could go and get that before the 16e was announced. No matter your choice, this was sorely needed. The iPhone SE 3 was dated, and Apple should not have left this thing on the market for as long as it has. I've had a few friends of the older generation get swindled into buying a SE3, and it's just so very far behind in 2025. Yes, this new phone has a slightly dated body, but come on, not like iPhones really change their shape that much year to year. Let me know if you're going to be picking one of these up down below in the comments. Subscribe for more videos, and I'll catch you next time.